Good morning, everybody. How's everyone doing? Morning, morning. It's going without us. It's Jovers. No. Yeah. If 9:30 just sends us higher, it's an early stream today. Popping off, bro. Morning, morning. I gotta put the text here again. Trade one, looking for long. I'm bullish today, guys. I think the framework looks really clear to me today. It's like A+++ setup type narrative. I really like how we have this previous day low SMT at a discount. The 6-hour range looks extremely clean. This balanced price range is what we've been looking at, and it just reacted perfectly to it, which is why yesterday I was initially looking for longs. And today, because we got that previous day low SMT overnight, I am very, very bullish now, looking for this external range high. But I'm pretty sure we're gonna get like, or I'm not sure that we're gonna get it, but what I'd like to see is a 5-minute SMT, because I don't think a 15-minute will create. And the reason why is, one, if it creates a 15-minute, that makes this price action low probability. Two, we had a SMT between Asia session and London session already, which is why I'd want to see prices continue higher for distribution. I hope 930 is able to drive lower for that, though, because right now it kind of looks like it's pushing higher. Give it to me. I'm fiending for this. No, I'm kidding. All right, I need to chill. $9.25 continues pushing higher. I think GBP and Euro USD look really good for shorts right now. You have this range right here. Let me change this color back to normal. You have this range here, trade into a premium. You have SMT with London high. Looks good for lower prices here. Morning, is that a green hair clip in your hair? No, it's not a hair clip. It's a crocheted leaf that my girlfriend made for me and she put on my headphones, so I just left it there. It's been here ever since. Are you waiting for now to happen before executing? I'm waiting for a 5-minute SMT. Hopefully that forms. If it doesn't, then it is what it is, but that's what I'm ultimately waiting for. So no entry on indexes until we take out previous 90-minute low. I wouldn't say no entry. Like you could technically execute on like a continuation idea. Like right now at 9:10, we all three markets closed above the 90-minute range high or the previous 90-minute range high. This could have been the entry right here. But personally, I'm just waiting for the SMT with a, you know, SMT and then change state delivery. That is the ideal entry for me personally. What's up, Yoshi? All right, equities open in a minute and a half here. See what happens. Buy side being taken out now. I think this is previous day high if I am not mistaken. Yeah, this is previous day high. So looks like all three markets moving very nicely for bullish price action. I just like to see a little retracement before entering on this. From previous day high, if we continue to support from it, potentially you could look for continued longs or for a continuation, but otherwise I would like to wait for that SMT on the lows first. And hopefully 930 is able to give us that manipulation, and then we'll look for distribution after that. Doing good, Yoshi. How are you? What's your long target? My long target is going to be the external range high, which is on the 90-minute or 6-hour chart. It's going to be previous week high. That's my target. In what cases do you enter on a continuation type trade you just mentioned? I typically enter continuation trades if it's on the 15-minute or higher. The thing about anything lower than that is, well, of course, time and price is fractal, but typically, whenever you do these invalidation as a confirmation trades, they are lower probability because price can still have the option to retrace before going, and it usually could stop me out. So I like to de-risk for these kind of trades. All right, so we got equities open now. See if we get an SMT. Looks pretty bullish so far. See if it leaves without us here. Gold. Still interested in longs for gold here for these equal highs. Gonna have to wait for another like SMT on the lows though. Nasdaq's leaving without us. Am I holding myself back by only allowing myself to enter trades after 9:40? I don't know. I always just did that. I don't think so. I think that 9:40 is a good time, to be honest, because it allows equities open to settle. I know some people that trade strictly after 10 a.m. Or if you want, you could just look at the charts starting at 9:30 because that's the first volatility injection of the day, right? Which is equities open for index futures. So you just start looking at your chart at equities open, see what price is doing, and then look for a trade that way. I think that's a perfectly reasonable time to get to your desk. Yeah, it's looking like I don't have an entry here. Do you use opening range gap? Would give a nice entry if we trade back into it for a long. I do not use the opening range gap. Why don't you just market execute and put your stop at the low? I could technically, but I don't really want to chase the market. It just isn't the optimal entry for me. And on top of that, a lot of this buy side has already been rated, right? So if I were to take this long originally, if we got like a 5-minute SMT into this 90-minute fair value gap, or even just below this 90-minute range low, 5-minute fair SMT, then this would have been the ideal trade right here. Look for higher prices because we still have all of this buy side liquidity as an option, right? But now we're trading through it. I don't really have a trade. This would just be FOMOing in at this point because my philosophy around this is if you see the trade, you've probably already missed the trade, right? There's no sound. Are you sure? Type 1 if you can hear me. Okay, thanks. Would you be interested in short today? No, not at all. Thank you guys. But yeah, not interested in short today. Framework is just too bullish. 15-minute chart. Let's see what's going on here. Yeah, not much to really go off of here. Why no interest in shorts? Higher time frame narrative. Higher time frame narrative. I'm still bullish though. That's a thing. From this daily order block, why this is significant to me is because we traded into this fair value gap over here, continued pushing higher, creating this order block. Now that we're trading into this order block, when we align our time frames on the 6-hour chart or the 90-minute chart, traded back into a discount into that daily order block, right? into this balanced price range that we were looking at yesterday for longs, and then we got that previous day low SMT to push higher, which is why there was no reason for me to look for shorts, even on a higher time frame perspective, until we get maybe like a previous week high SMT or something. But that's gonna be probably later into the week if we do get that bearish reversal. So to my analysis, it was very, very bullish. I just didn't get an entry, unfortunately, but it is what it is. Sometimes it be like that. I'm waiting for a 5-minute SMT on the low, and that's pretty much, I don't know if that's even possible anymore at this point, because if price were to go all the way back down here, take out this low, that just makes this price action low probability. And whenever I say something makes price action low probability, it's because whenever you're getting distribution in price, you don't want to see it like reverse all the way back lower and then continue. You just want to see it, if this is the distribution, you just want to see it expand. At most, retrace maybe 50% and continue expanding. But a lot of times, if it's expanding, it'll just retrace like not even 10% and continue. You typically just don't want to see a retracement because this is the trade that I want to be in, right? I just didn't get an entry. If I got in on this trade, my trade would probably look something like this, right? So if I was in this trade, would I even want to see price turn around all the way back down here just to give someone else an entry and continue? I wouldn't want to see that, right? And that's why it makes it low probability. The thing about entering only at or after 9:40, the way price moved today, there would have just been zero opportunity for AM. I guess the 9:30 open is particularly unpredictable. I wouldn't say it's unpredictable necessarily. I'd say it's more so you have to pay attention is, has manipulation occurred yet? So in this case, manipulation has occurred. We had a previous day low SMT. We had a SMT between Asia and London session as well. The only thing I was waiting for was a 5-minute SMT for continuation in price, right? And that's why I wanted to wait for that. And so I wasn't actually able to get that, unfortunately. It just kind of went without me. But it's identifying, has manipulation happened before the volatility injection? If it has, then you're looking for continuation and distribution from that volatility injection. Otherwise, you're just looking for manipulation from that volatility injection, and that typically gives you the opportunity to get in on price. And so because I didn't see a 5-minute SMT at the time this morning, I was waiting to see if 9:30 wanted to create it. Unfortunately, it didn't. It just sent it. So it is what it is. Sometimes you miss a trade, sometimes you lose a trade, but it's all about trusting the process, right? And that's why I think having a higher time frame and intermediate term time frame narrative is so key, is because whenever you're doing higher time frame analysis, yes, time still matters to some degree, like your volatility injections, such as your big three, like NFP affects the weekly range heavily. NFP, CPI, and was the last one. NFP, CPI, FOMC. And then you also have PPI sometimes that will affect, and that could affect the monthly range even. So you have to pay attention to those. But for the most part, whenever you're doing higher time frame analysis, time doesn't matter as much because you look at this, price traded into this order block, okay. And then we had a London session trade last night rather than a AM session trade, right? But here we can identify over here that we had an SMT between Asia and London. That was the manipulation of the day, and that's why we're looking for distribution throughout New York AM session. But once again, unfortunately, I was unable to capitalize on this, which kind of sucks, but it is what it is. So are you done for the day? Uh, to be honest, it's looking likely that I'm not gonna have a trade for today. I'll be honest, because once again, even if price were to retrace all the way down here, that is not high probability, right? This is the distribution, and sometimes you just gotta accept that you missed the move. It is what it is. We say manipulation occurs mainly in the first 10 minutes. I wouldn't say in the first 10 minutes. I would say it typically occurs from the first volatility injection of the day. You want to, honestly, all you're looking for, really, if you want to spot manipulation, you're just looking for SMT, right? So let's say you have news at 8:30, it creates an SMT on the lows, and your narrative is bullish, then you know that manipulation has already occurred. 9:30 is most likely going to run price higher. So today is an example of manipulation has already occurred prior to market open or New York AM open, and then AM session just acted as a distribution. 9:30 just acted as a distribution higher, right? So today's a perfect example of that. Where's the breaker block, which can lead to higher prices? I would say that would be either previous day high, this candle right here. This is a good breaker. You can pay attention to this breaker, and you can pay attention to this breaker. So any of these breakers, if you get maybe a bullish model from here, you could look for a continuation higher. But this is all dependent on if this drawn liquidity stays intact for the external range high. Otherwise, it would be null. You may play 10 a.m. candle. I will look for open low high close, open low high close of that. Yeah, you could. I just don't think I'm gonna be able to find a 5-minute SMT within that, because my entry model requires SMT, and I just don't think I'm gonna get that today. Good morning, Nico. Wouldn't that be an entry for YM? Potentially, but once again, if an SMT occurs on any of the markets, honestly, you know what? If YM drove all the way lower to create a previous 90-minute range SMT and it just died off, I wouldn't even mind looking for a continuation off Nasdaq, something like that. But that would require YM to pretty much just fall off here, which I don't think is likely because it still has that all-time high drawn liquidity, right? What was the manipulation today? It was previous day low SMT and SMT between Asia session and London session today. That was the manipulation. What time frame do you prefer to look at to determine the dealing range? So dealing ranges is very subjective in my opinion. There are ways to make it more systematic. For me, it's really paying attention to what market structure is doing in relation to each other on correlated assets, and I like to use that as a dealing range. For example, this low to this high, right? Why did I draw this dealing range? Because there's an SMT down here, previous day low SMT, created this bullish push higher, and on all three assets, all three of them pushed higher, right? And so I use this as a dealing range. And then, so the time frames I like to use is really, I use all the time frames. I use monthly, weekly, daily, 6 hour, 90-minute, 15-minute, or not 15 minutes, sorry. It depends. But higher time frame, typically, I like to refer to monthly, weekly, daily. Intermediate term time frame, I like to refer to 6 hour, 90-minute. And then lower time frame, I like to refer to 15-minute, 5-minute. And so when I'm looking for a dealing range, it typically stems from the daily chart. or the higher time frame. As of right now, I think the monthly chart is the cleanest, but it typically does stem from the daily chart because I'm intraday trading, right? I don't need such a huge range typically. The only reason why I do my analysis on the monthly chart is so I can swing positions. So for example, here for the past 2.5 months, I was bullish because of this range alone. And so when you align yourself like that, it allows you to have high probability narrative and very high RR. And the reason why I say high RR is not because typically when people say they have high RR targets, it's like they reduce their win rate and increase their RR. But by doing it this way, what you're essentially doing is you're finding a high probability intraday trade, right? And then you can turn that into a swing trade because you're in alignment of all the other time frames. So for example, if today I did have an entry, let's just take today as an example. If I did have an entry today, let's say I entered down here, I had a stop loss down here. Typically, an intraday trader, they'd probably just target buy side liquidity here, or buy side liquidity here, right? For a 2-hour trade. But because we have that higher time frame and intermediate term time frame in alignment, we can target this high, and that gives us a 4-hour risk reward ratio. We could even target higher than that because we have the higher time frame overall is telling us to continue looking for bullish price action, right? And so that's pretty much my style of trading, is looking for intraday trades that can lead to potential swing trades. And that's really what sets my equity curve apart. Typically you'll have these small winners or small losses, or you have break even trades, but these big runners are really what sets my equity curve apart. So that's my trading style. Yes, exactly, Yoshi. It's not so much trusting your higher time frame bias. It's trusting your lower time frame bias. It's using higher time frame to give your lower time frame analysis confidence, right? Because I used to only use the 15-minute chart, and what that would do is, granted, I was less experienced as a trader. I think if I just use the 15-minute chart now, I'd still be fine. But what that would lead to is I'd tunnel vision because I use 15-minute, 1-minute chart, and I just tunnel vision on PA without paying attention to the overall narrative of price. And that's what would ultimately lead to a bunch of losses. Like, analysis was perfect, and I think a lot of us can do analysis perfectly. But if your daily bias or if your weekly bias or your monthly bias is off, you're just going to continuously try shorting a bullish market, or you're going to continuously try to long a bearish market. So unfortunately, I didn't enter when I knew it was going higher. How do you get over knowing your bias was correct but you didn't get an entry? It's just accepting it. Honestly, it's shifting your perspective. This never gave me an entry. It was never my opportunity to begin with, right? This felt blatantly obvious to me today. It felt like an A+++ setup, but I didn't get an entry. That's the way she goes sometimes. Sucks. But it's part of the process. I don't care if it goes without me. All I care about is, did I follow my rules today? Did I follow my process? Because someone that can be consistent in following their process will always be more successful in the long run than someone that just makes random swings off based on emotion, right? So you just have to put that into perspective. It's like, do you want to treat this as a professional, like you want to treat this as your career as a professional, or do you want to just gamble? That's kind of how I put it. Whenever I break my rules, I view myself as a gambler. Whenever I follow my rules, I view myself as a composed professional trader. That's just how it is. And I have to identify as that professional trader, especially when I'm live streaming every single day to a pretty big audience, a decently sized audience, right? I have to keep that composure for you guys as well so I can set an example. Would you consider trading ES if NQ takes all-time high? As of right now, there's just nothing for me to do. There's really nothing because I don't see price going all the way back down here to create an SMT just for an entry. It looks very, very slim. for a very slim chance for that to happen. Looks like all the markets are gonna just continue expanding higher, and I'm okay with missing this. I'll just wait for the next opportunity because I know it's going to great. It just happens over and over and over again. There's nothing. I'm not technically I'm not missing out on anything. You can view it more of I'm not missing this trade. I'm just waiting for the next opportunity to set up. And what do I mean the next opportunity to set up? Well, I'm already anticipating in my mind price could go higher here, for example. I don't care if it goes that much higher. I know that it's going to create maybe a new dealing range over here, right? So let's say it creates a new dealing range. Right? Who cares if it goes this much higher? Because I'll have another opportunity regardless after that. I'll look for a short back into internal range liquidity. Maybe I'll miss that opportunity too. But who cares? Because that sets up internal to external range liquidity trade again. So just understanding that there's a continuous flow of opportunity in the markets. You just have to be patient enough to let them come to you. The more you chase, the harder it'll be. The more you chase, the more you'll stunt your own growth. And that's the reality of trading. That's what sucks about trading versus other professions. If you want to go hard at something, trading's not for you. Because even if you put in countless hours, 10, 100, 1,000, 10,000 hours into trading, your technical analysis will become amazing, right? But the question is, are you able to capitalize on that through your other skills, such as risk management, emotional regulation? Do you have the skill set in those aspects? Because you need to work on those too. And to work on those skills, it's not necessarily putting tens of thousands of hours into the chart. It's more so, what are you actively doing outside the charts too? Your daily routine plays a crucial role in how you manage your risk, in how disciplined you are, and how you manage your emotions, right? If you get irritated easily from things outside the chart, like let's say you're driving, someone cuts you off and you start flipping them off, you start going crazy, you start yelling at them, well, how do you think that's going to translate into the chart, right? When something does that, what that shows is when something doesn't go your way, you immediately have that emotional response of anger, frustration, revenge, right? And then let's say in the charts, you take a trade, you take a loss, something's not going your way, you immediately feel that frustration, anger, revenge, and you're going to try to revenge trade. So it's not necessarily, something that you can full throttle at. And yeah, so that's my little rant, I guess. I don't even know how I got into that, I'll be honest. Do you use quarterly theory strategies? I don't necessarily use quarterly theory as a strategy. I would say I use time-based liquidity SMT, which is a huge thing in my trading, but that's pretty much the only thing I take from quarterly theory. On average, how many high probability setups do you get each week? Probably I'd say it really depends actually, but I'd say maybe 4 or 5. It's pretty often there's something to do every day for my model, at least, because I use the lower time frame in alignment of the higher time frame. Would you consider shorts as we're getting monthly cycle SMT with previous week high? No, I would not. Not right now. How do you decide what the leading asset is when looking for SMT? Say NQ is making lower lows, but ES is making higher highs. How do you decide which will push higher or lower? So how you decide is typically the market that makes the failure swing. So in this case, ES failed to take out previous day low, NQ failed to take out previous day low. So you look at these two assets as stronger assets to push further higher. On YM, why is it more lackluster? Is because in theory, I don't want to say 100% of the time, but in theory, this is the market that took the low, which shows more weakness in the market, which is why it's not as expansive as NQ and ES right now. So it's just whichever one makes the failure swing is typically more expansive. However, the one that fails to make that makes the new swing point is typically a cleaner and more controlled trade, I'd say. But I like to just trade the more expansive one. That's just my style, because when I enter, I just want to see price run in my favor. I don't really want to see price retrace back into a breaker block, respect it, create an order block, and then create a propulsion block, respect that, continue higher, create fair value gap, trade back into a continue. Like, that's really nice for like management and stuff like that, but I rather just see price run in my favor. Okay, let's see what I missed. NQ has made higher than ES. Does this mean ES needs to reach the same high before there's a higher time frame retracement? Not particularly, not always. As of right now, I don't see a reason why price would turn around. If we were to get this previous week high SMT, what I'd be waiting for it to be confirmed is at the end of today's New York AM session, how are we treating that? And then are we able to get like a market structure shift on lower time frame? Are we able to get the change state delivery on the 6-hour time frame, right? It's very rare that you see price go from internal to external and then external back to internal within the same day, especially when you're framing it on a higher time frame. If you do it on a lower time frame, of course it's possible, but whenever it comes to a higher time frame such as the 90-minute chart or the 6-hour chart, it's very rare to see both internal to external play out and then external back to internal to play out, and then vice versa. It's very rare to have 2 of those in the same day. Because it's such a higher time frame, right? And then New York AM. And on top of that, New York AM is the volatile injection that I'm looking for, right? So there's only one New York AM session per day. If we got previous week high SMT, what would you want to see? Yeah, lower time frame. I just look for change state delivery. Not change state delivery, sorry. I would want to see a 6-hour change state delivery. And I'd also want to see lower time frame structure form bearishly. What's the best way to record my personal trades? So what I like to do is, oh, Clyde, you're in the mentorship. So the journal template that I've provided to you guys. And then on top of that is I like to use TradeZella. I just import all my trades there. I don't do any journaling on TradeZella, but I keep all my metrics on TradeZella. The reason why I don't like to keep my journal on TradeZella is because it's a paid platform. So it's like if I want to keep my journaling stuff, then I'd rather just have it in a personal archive where I have access to it forever without needing to rely on anyone. And then the statistics of my trades, basically what I do is I import all my trades into TradeZella, so it automatically records my statistics. And then from there, I just screenshot my statistics every single day and then upload it to my journal. And then that way I have everything in the same place. Yo, what's up, Elijah? You take it long? Nice. Nice, good stuff. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But don't you have to close out your trades at the end of the day? How do you trade the runners? I trade my personal account for runners. Oh, you mean with Loom? Okay, yeah, I think Loom is super easy to record, to be honest, and it's cheap. So I would just go with Loom, and then you just record your screen as you're trading. Super, super easy. I think that's the best way. Nice, good stuff. Are you full out, Elijah? Nice, good stuff. Mm-hmm. Elijah able to catch the long? Yeah, Elijah caught it. Elijah caught the long off of invalidation, like I was saying earlier, from the 90-minute range high. This could have been the trade right here, but he basically entered off this, and there was a 1-minute SMT over here at 9:30, created with YM right here at 9:30, dug lower, created that 1-minute SMT, and he entered on that. So his entry was somewhere around here. Stop loss, I assume, is probably around here. And then he pretty much just hit his full TP. Nice little 10R trade. Yeah. Yeah, a free way you can do it is use OBS. Quick little 10R trade for Elijah. Nothing crazy. Easy peasy. 6.6 R is so pretty good, bro. It's just another day. Yeah, yesterday was pretty tough for me. I just took a full 2R loss yesterday. It's been a while since I took a full 2R loss, I can't lie. But I withdrew from Top Step. I'm ready for Hong Kong, bro. Yeah. Took the withdrawal. Gonna enjoy Hong Kong. Maybe ball out a little bit. We'll see. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm probably not gonna get like luxury items. I'll probably just get like I just want to ball out on food, bro. To be honest. Not much more. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I gotta hit every single Pop Mart for grilling. So Ethan, all good here? Yeah, everything's good. I just missed my entry, but it's all good. There was no entry actually. I didn't miss the entry, there was just no entry for me. Clean face cam, thank you. Thank you. Is there a free version of TradeZilla? I think there's something called like Trade Viz or something like that. I'm not sure though. Where do you get that headset? A cute little growing leaf in the headset. So the headset I bought is a DT770X Pro. I think it's Sennheiser, if I remember correctly. And then this leaf up here is a crocheted leaf from my girlfriend. She put it on my headphones and I just have it here now. So that's why there's a leaf. One of one. Unless you want to buy it, then she'll make it for you. Took a long during London SMT with Asia lows and 5-minute chain state delivery. Close at previous week high. Nice. Good stuff, brother. That is an amazing trade. I was not awake during that time. If I was, I would have entered a swing trade from here. Because we had the previous day low SMT, changing state delivery, higher prices. This would have been my ideal swing trade position. Intraday, I would have waited for some sort of lower time frame confirmation. I love how like the cleanest trade of the month so far, at least, the cleanest trade in the past 30 days is the one that runs without us. Actually, there's been a lot of clean trades, though. I can't lie. I take it back. It's not. I wouldn't say it's like the cleanest trade, but one of the cleanest trades. I definitely say. I think today's definitely like a good case study to keep in the books. Yeah, there's nothing much on it. I'm just gonna sit here and answer questions and stuff for the next like 20 minutes. All right, good night, Elijah. Me? Oh, I was never sick. It was just a mental burnout. Yeah. Yeah, all right. Thanks, bro. I'll see you soon. Actually, I'll talk to you tomorrow, bro. Talking like I'm leaving like right now. And then I'll probably call you from the plane, bro. Yeah. All right. Yeah, yeah, actually it's like arrived in Hong Kong. Okay. All right. Take care, bro. You too. Okay. What did I miss? If I'm close below previous day high, does it make the 90-minute SMT valid? A previous day high would be an SMT. I would say 5-minute SMT on the high. There's no 5-minute SMT on the high, so nothing of interest for me. Unrelated question: how do I get to Radiant? I'm hard stuck between Immortal 2 and Ascendant 3. So I think for me, I kind of brute forced my way into Radiant. It was mainly just like mechanical. So I think it's important, like anything, just like trading, it's important to have routine and consistency. If you're training for any sport, you need some sort of consistency to train different aspects, right? So let's say Valorant, for example, because that's what you're asking about, is you need an aim routine, and then you need to play as many scrims as possible, because that's the only way you're gonna get game sense. I was Radiant. I wasn't like insane at the game though. I hit it like twice. But I was like super degen. Like super degen. I would like wake up early in the morning just to aim train, warm up, play scrims, play ranked, rinse and repeat every single day. Because I was taking competitive gaming seriously at the time. But yeah, the more you practice, the thing is, also a very big thing for me is when you aim train a lot, you'll feel like your aim is cracked or whatever. But then when you're in game, just don't think about aiming at all. You should be mainly thinking about game sense and crosshair placement, because that muscle memory from aim training will automatically kick in when you have good positioning, when you have good crosshair placement. That muscle memory from your aim training will automatically kick in. I think majority of your mental capital should be around how is the other team playing. Yeah, so game sense really just comes from like studying. You also have to study pro teams. That's a big thing as well. How are pro teams executing? What are they doing around specific situations? What role are you trying to break into? Because you can't master all the roles. You got to master one role, usually. One or two roles. Just practice those, and then you have to scrim a lot. And scrim is what's majority of the time, scrim is what's gonna give you that game sense, as well as studying pro gameplay. Yeah. So if you're a jet main, that means you're not necessarily a jet main, but I'd say a duelist main, right? So I'd say you should be focusing on Raze as well. Raze is really good. Jet's pretty good. I don't even know what the meta is now. I haven't played in like 3-4 years, but it's important. I think Raze was a lot more volatile, flexible. Raze is a lot more flexible. Who else is good? What other duelists is there? Jet. Reyna is kind of obsolete. I would not play Reyna. Um, for ranked, I think Reyna's pretty good. Phoenix he's not the greatest in my opinion as well. Oh, Yoru's really good. Oh my gosh, if you can play Yoru really well, he's really good. Waylay, I heard Waylay's not that great because Waylay, pretty much after you use her utility, she has nothing. So that's what I heard about Waylay. Oh, Neon, you'd have to also play Neon. But yeah, like if you're taking on a duelist role, you have to also understand that you are majority of the time, you're the one making the plays. So you have to be the one calling to your team, like, hey, I want to take this. Can you help me with this util? Right? You have to make those kind of calls. Otherwise, your team will kind of just be like if you ever played ranked, the team is kind of like they don't know what they're doing. But majority of the time, it's because the duelist is supposed to call a play, make space, right? And then of course you'll have like an IGL and stuff like that. Yeah, but ranked majority of the time is just like solo carry kind of thing. You got to get 40 kills if you really want to win. Like how you think about rank as if you deserve a rank, you should be able to ace the other team. Yeah. Anyways, that was off topic, but just like trading, you need a routine. I'm honestly pretty bad at the game now, though, to be honest. Sometimes I play for fun, and I'm pretty sure if I were to play seriously again, I'd be like hard stuck ascendant right now or something. I'm pretty washed. I play Brawlhalla as of right now. I just play it for fun. Well, was this an A++ setup as compared to yesterday or recent days? It's because everything's in alignment. Like everything's perfectly in alignment. You have order pairing. You have 6-hour range. You have 90-minute range in alignment. You have the daily range from this daily order block, right? From this fair value gap pushed higher, making this order block high probability. The monthly range is still bullish, right? Everything's in alignment. That's why it's an A++ setup. And then you also have a previous day low SMT formed overnight. You have an SMT between Asia London low. You already have the model right here technically if you were executing during London session. And then here, if we just got some sort of SMT, that would be my distribution. What trigger are you looking for today? I was looking for a 5-minute SMT, but I don't think I'm going to trade today, given how it's already expanded to my target. I'm just here to answer questions at this point. But yeah, I'm probably going to head out pretty, like a little earlier today. 10:20, targets hit. Analysis was right, no entry though. It is what it is. If there was no previous day low SMT, would this be a B setup? Depends. If there was a 15-minute, 5-minute SMT on the lows, I would probably classify it as like a A setup maybe, but not A++ for sure. Like this is A++, like the best of the best, because everything's in alignment. But typically, if I had like a 15-minute, 5-minute SMT on the lows from here, that would be okay as well. That would be like an A setup, A+ setup, or A setup. I think a B setup is when I only have like a singular. A B setup to me is like when I'm starting to like invent trades out of like random stuff, I guess. It's like, oh, we didn't get any SMTs on the lows other than this 1-minute SMT. I'll take it. Like that's like a B or even a C setup. Like a B setup might be like just a no clear framework, and then you have like a 5-minute SMT, and I take it. Like that would be like a B setup, in my opinion. But yeah, on that note, I think I'm probably just gonna call it here. Thank you everyone for joining the stream. Like, as always, I appreciate it. We hit over 100 viewers again today, so I appreciate you all. Seriously. I'll continue to go live, and we'll continue to grow the community, and look forward to it. Honestly, it's only been 1 month. Crazy. So I appreciate you all. Thank you guys for joining, and as always, have a great rest of your days. Good luck with trading if you are still trading. And yeah, take care, everyone.